All right, what's going on, everybody? It's been a little break, but we are back. If you can hear me, let me know. You already know what I'm going to ask you to do. Please like and share this stream. Would appreciate that. Let me just make sure you guys can hear. Yeah, I went on a little vacation. Just got back last night, and I feel like I'm more tired than I was before I went, honestly. So I'm easing my way back in. I did place a few trades mobile over the last couple of days, but nothing too crazy. I've kind of taking it easy, and I'm ready to get back and going. Doesn't look like I missed all that much besides Tesla going absolutely berserk, which is as expected, and I was able to reap the benefits of that, of course. So that's great. Let me see. I just see a chat. Make sure you guys can hear me, and then we'll get going. All right, cool. Yeah, I guess you guys can hear it. All right, so let's get into it. First and foremost, we will go through our overall market view. Then we'll break it down into some individual names. So if you have any names that you want to take a look at for today, I saw one was already dropped in. Drop those in the sidebar. I have a few that I can go over as well, but let's see what names we can come up with here. So let's get into our market overview. 3 times for triple the effect. All right, we are back. Let's go. All right, so I'm pulling over here. Everybody should be able to see my screen right now, and I have the weekly view of NASDAQ up. So, as we've been saying for, I don't know the amount of weeks, but literally since the first week of January, I have a video on YouTube. You can go back and check it. What was the main focus of this entire run-up that we got from October? And that was simply, until we see some sort of higher time frame imbalance, there's no reason for us to look lower. That's a fool's game. If we're going to try and call the top, not only are you going to miss out on the upward trajectory, but you're also going to you're going to get smacked on your shorts, right? So the idea was, of course, smaller time frame, that's a different story. But on the higher time frame outlook, I'm not looking for that stock market crash. I'm not going to go buy SPY 400 puts because I think the market's going to crash. To me, that is a fool's game. You're just lighting money on fire by doing that. So and that's why I've completely avoided that. And why do I say I'm waiting for a weekly imbalance for me to make that decision? And all I'm doing is using historical price data to give me that indication, right? Imbalance, and look what happens following that imbalance. You get the retracement, right? But we haven't had one of those on this entire run higher. The only little one that we formed turned out to put us right into a monthly bullish imbalance and send us up this next leg. So to me, again, trying to call the top is just a fool's game. We have a big November coming up with the elections. I don't really anticipate anything drastic to happen prior to that, unless it is some like external factor that we don't have control over. And I will say that at this point, for target purposes, right? You probably see him thrown all over the place on Twitter. Oh, I think SPY is going to 600 by this date, right? To me, that's just kind of a guessing game, right? We really have no data to back that claim whatsoever, especially if you understand the idea of liquidity, right? So the fact that we've never been up here, right? We have no liquidity resting above. Okay, so if there's no liquidity resting above, there's really nothing to act as a magnet to price in order to go get that liquidity in order to create some sort of downside move. So really, at this point, we are kind of at the peril of the big boys who have a substantial amount of money, enough to actually move things here, right? Unfortunately, I do not have enough money to move NASDAQ or any of these large cap names. It's just not in the cards. So essentially just have to wait until the day comes. And what's going to happen when the day comes? You're going to form an imbalance to the downside, and there it is. There's the culmination of that idea. So yeah, realistically, I mean, just looking at it here, I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. We've just been on an insane run. No real indication yet again. Look, here's your hourly chart. We really have not seen any hourly imbalance, even on that downturn that we saw yesterday. So we'll see what happens. We got Powell talking at 10 o'clock. For me, on days like that, really any news day that we have news at 10 o'clock, I tend to avoid pressing buttons prior to that. Look, can we get a decent idea of where price is likely to go prior to that news event? Sure. The only difficult thing is when you're trading a vehicle like NASDAQ or anything leveraged, really, or even if you take large size positions, right? To try and front run data, I think is really dangerous. You could be right. I'm not trying to say that you can't be right, but those wicks could stop you out prior to even getting the big move. So that's why I tend to avoid any front running of data or anything like that. I rarely play earnings. I probably should because I crush them, but I don't play earnings. I don't leave it up to chance. Don't feel like I need to do that in order to be successful or make money at this. So and that all just circles back to having a very well defined strategy. But anyways, going back to it, let's get into some individual names. Let me come on over and check this chat. Got a few names over here. Okay, that's good. All right, let's roll over and we'll do a quick draw, and then we'll get out of here for live trading. All right, if you haven't already, please like and share this stream. Would appreciate that greatly. Now, let's get into some of these individual names and we'll check into the comments. So the first one that was brought up was Kava. Let's take a look at Kava. I know it's a relatively new IPO name. Let me just scooch on over here. Good. Okay. So, okay, a very, very large range here. So let's pull this out and zoom. Good. Okay. So right off the bat here, you have a bullish breaker. You have a low, high, whoa, lower low, break up and through, and you can use the high of that sequence as your bullish breaker. And we would anticipate that level acting as a support level moving forward. And this is where we currently sit. This is a really large range right now. The difficult part of this is that we don't have all the data in the world to justify or give us an idea of where price is likely to go at this point, right? Other than your all-time high, that is the only area of buy-side liquidity that you have. This week could, I'm not saying it will or won't, but this week could form a bearish imbalance to the downside and create a move back down into discount. Now, it hasn't. Until that point, I really don't have much interest in this name. I'm looking here just broadly. I'm seeing that we have, let's see, is that, yeah, it's a little one. It's a little volume imbalance or gap higher here on the weekly time frame right there. See it? And that's where we've held up thus far. Took out the low from a couple weeks ago. But this really doesn't meet the criteria for me. Again, this doesn't mean that it can't go up, it can't go down. It just doesn't meet the criteria for me to look deeper into this and consider trading it for the week, right? I like discounts. If I can get discounts with a clearer draw on liquidity, or where I truly firmly believe that price is going, at that point, that's when I enter the trade. Otherwise, not so much for me here. So that would be Kava. Now let's scroll on over. Let's look at Sachs, right? Sure. Let's look at Nvidia. Okay, so Nvidia, this will be a quick one because I don't really have interest in this one anymore either. So there's your monthly time frame on Nvidia, absolute monster. Here, bring it down into your weekly. Here's your weekly time frame. And where we currently sit, again, this I was kind of expecting a retracement on semis, which ultimately we have not gotten. Way too powerful, way too strong. And this is what we got here on this weekly time frame. So following that gap down, we actually created a bullish order block with a volume imbalance this week. So bears would need to do some serious work in order to drive this lower from this point. My idea was this. Off of this bearish imbalance right here, we got that rejection with the low wick, did not sweep liquidity, ultimately turning this thing back around. So we're working on a bearish order block right here, but with a bullish volume imbalance. If this is an up close today, you'll also form this bullish fair value gap in the process, and at that point 141 seems like a no-brainer. So at the moment for me, I just want to see what happens with Powell at 10 o'clock. I think this name will get a lot of juice following that. So good. Next up, Moderna. This is one that I'm currently playing as well. So here's Moderna. You check out that monthly bullish imbalance right here. Very nice. I should just be fair and note that we did end up rejecting that bearish fair value gap right there beautifully. And this is where we currently sit at Moderna. Now, if we break it down into the smaller time frames, I agree with you, and I do think it's time to get going a little bit. Now, the range is relatively big here. You have this weekly bullish breaker, low, high, lower, low, break up and through, finally gets up and through. And so far, we're tapping back down into it. So ideally, this week, we start to make some progress back up into, at the very least, this bearish fair value gap here on the weekly time frame. And let's go over here just to take a look here, and of course kind of consolidating inside that very same weekly breaker as well. We swept sell side liquidity here, so ideally price gets to get up and go a little bit. 123.70 is buy side liquidity here with a daily bearish imbalance right there. Okay, so that would be Moderna. If you're newer here and you're just hearing some of these terms for the first time, I have videos on all of them. They're really not all that long, but I will tell you that these concepts, while not mine, there's just really nothing close to the effectiveness and the ability to explain the reasoning behind moves. Every single move that has ever happened on any chart, doesn't matter, it can be Moderna, it can be NASDAQ, it can be anything, they can all be justified. And I would happily prove that to you. Just drop a name in the sidebar if you want, and just say justify moves or something like that, and I'll go through every single one and we can justify every single move that occurs, right? What makes it more difficult is when you can kind of paint a picture either direction. That's when things get hard, and those tend to be no trades, and then you move on to something else, because there is on my list, at the very least, there's 100 other names that I can look at if I want to trade them. So but oftentimes you'll get a very one directional idea, and everything is well mapped out and well defined, right? So, for example, you take a trade like this, you can be looking for buy side liquidity, whether it's on a smaller time frame, whether it's on a higher time frame, while using the low of the candle that created that imbalance, the stop loss. It's all well defined for you, and that's why there's nothing like this. And my model in itself, that's why I don't post all of those Mando model complete to brag or anything, just to show the efficacy, because they happen every single day. While I was away, I noticed this one happened, and this is one that I have shares of this, but I didn't trade options on this, and I'll explain to you why. Low, high, discount retracement, bullish imbalance, run for highs, Mando model complete. The reason why I didn't even feel all that inclined to trade this beyond shares is due to the fact that we have a lot of relative equal lows down here, right? A little sketchy, but other than that, this is it. Happens all the time. And again, having that nice little repeatable and well-defined model really will change the game for you. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's go to Roblox. Sure. Roblox has been an absolute monster. This is another one. If you wanted to just type into your search bar at Mando Trading and then the $ Roblox, you'll see my tweet about it from about a month and a half ago. Yeah, monthly bullish fair value gap. And if you checked out, like that low wick down from April, that was that earnings wick. Look where it perfectly bounced from. There's just nothing close. I'm sorry. There's no moving average. There's no trend line or anything like that that can be as precise and particular as that. If you go down to the weekly, you'll see the weekly bullish breaker. But there it is. out of discount so far. So my model completes at 47.20. Beautiful. Let's come on over here to the weekly time frame as well. There it is. Look at that bullish breaker. You like, how perfect can you possibly be? Low, high, lower, low, break up and through, retracement back down into that, specifically in discount. And so far, so good. So immediate buy side 41.04, and all of these imbalances have been filled at this point. You have relative equal highs 47.65 and 47.20. That would, if price were to get up in there, I think that slices right through. That's a low resistance liquidity run, right? No imbalances in between these really three areas of buy side. So Roblox is awesome. Let's see if we can find anything on a smaller time frame for it. Very similarly good. Held up on previous bearish imbalance. So far, you have a bullish fair value gap right there, starting at 39.01. Right, that could just be criteria for the trade. Right, that maps out the entire trade idea right there. Right, with the idea that our buy side target is 41.04. Let's break it down even more. And this is just the criteria I go through in order for me to try and identify trades. Here's your low to your high. Okay, you can't use this high. Why can't you use this high? No discount retracement, right? So if there's no discount retracement, that's telling you that the range is not set. Here's your discount retracement. There's your bullish imbalance. This is also a bullish order block. And there she goes. Mando model complete. And on to the next one. So from this point, you'll slide on over low to your high. Whoops. High, no 50%. And we are currently well into premium of this current range. Okay, so ideally on a smaller time frame, I know we have that daily imbalance. Where is it? That daily imbalance gets you to 39.01. That's not necessarily discounted here on the hourly time frame. It doesn't necessarily have to be either, but that would just be something that to keep an eye on as we move on into today. 10 o'clock this morning, I think, is going to give a lot of answers to a lot of people based on some of the stuff they're looking at. So, all right, I got a few more minutes for a few more. Let's see. Sure, we can do either. So Mara's kind of stuck in the mud. Let's look at CLSK. Very similarly, monthly bullish imbalance right here. Here's Mara's. Got in, got out thus far. We have a monthly bullish imbalance right here, volume imbalance. That's a gap higher on the monthly. We are currently below it. Does not mean much at the moment. Let's go over here. Mara, weekly consolidation, chopping around. Nothing to really indicate any sort of rejection from this point, but also nothing really showing us that we want to rip up into that buy side liquidity just yet. Here, let's go over to CLSK. We'll do them both at the same time. Very similarly, hit this bullish imbalance right here. You have one more well deeper into discount, and you also had that weekly breaker. Low, high, lower low, break up and through, tap the breaker. So far, so good. The only thing that I'll say about these miners is that they're just taking forever. They're really slow at the moment. If you're curious about breakers, I just dropped my most recent video on YouTube is about breakers. Just literally extremely powerful, super precise, and really helpful for me personally. Yes, thank you. It was good, man. It was good. I'm still a little tired, but we're back into it. FTNT, sure. Let's look at that one. FTNT. If you haven't shared it, please do. Drop a comment on it as well. That would be swell. All right, let's go. FTNT. I think we spoke about this one because I would have never charted this on my own. But yeah, this is so far so good. If you go back in time here and you just, low, high, discount retracement, bullish imbalance. There's a bunch of them here. And there's your run for highs. That is my model completing, and that dates back to 2020. Maybe tomorrow we'll go look at some 1969 Boeing and just show you the efficacy of this model because it works all the way back then. All right, you got relative equal highs up here. That's pretty intriguing. Wouldn't want this level to fold here on the monthly time frame. Of course, that's much higher in scale. Similarly here on the weekly, you have this bullish fair value gap. You have one more below, deeper in discount. Let me just map the range for you here. Okay, there it is. Oh, yeah. So ultimately, just wouldn't want to fold up on any of these bullish imbalances. That's for sure. This is a bearish weekly fair value gap right here. Okay, and you have one more bullish imbalance right here. How would I manage this? Well, at this point, honestly, I would prefer it to get up over this. That would be the ultimate confirmation. 62, 61, that would make me feel real good about us going to get those relative equal highs. Sure, I'm leaving 2 points on the table, but I'm also not risking an additional 4 points as a result of that, right? That would just be my thought process for this trade. Reason why we rejected here, don't worry, we have the answers, because we always do, because everything can be justified that ever happens on this chart. And you shouldn't think otherwise, because I'll prove it to you right now. Okay. So that is FTNT. Let's scroll over. We're running low on time here. Low, sure. Okay. Not bad, not bad. I would prefer it to go into here. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I would prefer it to get down into this discount bullish imbalance. We hit 50%, and this is a monthly bullish order block, so it can take time. But ideally, yeah, even here, right? Same fair value gap here at this point. I would anticipate this to be filled, to be honest with you. Things could change. Look, this would be another situation. If we paint a weekly order block, so we get a close above last week's open, that could change some stuff for me. But you do have another bearish imbalance here. Gaps down, showing you urgency to move lower. Okay. So personally, would like it deeper into discount, especially on that monthly time frame. But that would be lows. Now let's keep on moving here. Let's see. Thank you. Affirm. Yeah, Affirm is close. Somebody in the group actually brought up a great point about Affirm. So here's Affirm. Fantastic discount bullish imbalance on the monthly time frame. Excellent. Okay. Well, depending on your time horizon for this idea, you can crunch it down into a smaller time frame. So let's come on over here and we'll look at our weekly. So here, this is what I was interested in, and this is what was brought up in the group. That's a bullish volume imbalance right here, and that begins at 27.05. So really, until that point, at this point at least, I would prefer to get on down into that volume imbalance. That's just deeper into discount. Also limits your risk much more. I think that would be ideal for a firm at this point. All right. Do you think we have a bullish structure? The 3-month chart I'm enduring, it doesn't look that good. Yeah, I think it's bullish. Yeah, nothing really changed. I guess we're never really bearish. I mean, if you want to look at it from that perspective here. When in doubt, zoom it out, my friend. All right. There she blows. Deep discount. Deep bullish imbalance. So far, so good. Okay, so there's let's come on over here. Let's keep going. CELH. Yes, I think CELH is going down still. I think CLH is going to go see low 40s, to be honest. Okay, we're creating a monthly bearish imbalance here as well, melting through a previous bullish. Why would this bullish level be irrelevant to me? Why wouldn't I try and trade this bullish level? It's not in discount, right? And this circles back to, on those smaller time frame setups, why I tend to ignore premium imbalances, right? Price could totally go up, but to me, it just doesn't make any sense, because I know price likes to retrace into discount. I've shown a million examples of my model at work here. I know price likes to go into discount, specifically imbalances in discount, right? If you see these fib lines, to me, I throw them out the window. They don't mean anything to me, right? A lot of my newer charts, they don't even have this 6.2 to 7.9. It's irrelevant, right? If there's no imbalance there, those fib lines are as good as useless. And that's something that can be back tested and proven as well. And I encourage everyone to do so. All right, so that's CELH. Yeah, I think this is going to be a long, drawn out retracement here. Snow, sure. Let's look at Snowflake. I think Snowflake has downside potential as well. Here, monthly bearish imbalance right there. Okay, not necessarily discounted in this most recent price run, but nonetheless, a lot of relative equal lows down here as well. To me, does not look all that good. Let's see. Here's the only positive, I guess you could say. Here's your bullish weekly volume imbalance. If you lose that level, you're toast, right? So again, structure, right? That's what everybody's looking for. Everybody wants some sort of structure to these trades, and that's great, right? That should be the ultimate idea here, to structure it there. That way, when you are wrong, you're not smoked. And when you win, you have an idea of where, it's a decent spot take some profits. Now, the thing about snow, let's just make sure this is a high 168.68. This is 168.80. So we did take liquidity there, but you do have a weekly bearish fair value gap here. We did shift structure here on the weekly with this move. Okay, so discount is quite a ways away, right? And that's why when we looked at the monthly, right, the monthly tells you one thing, but guess what? On a smaller time frame, this doesn't nearly look as bad. But the only problem with this, and the reason why I look, you could still use the imbalance as a structure for the trade, but you have a bearish imbalance here too. So this could very well be a high resistance run for liquidity. This could take some time to make its way up, and if you're trading options on that, that could smoke your premium. So I'm not personally interested in that, but you do have that weekly imbalance, so I guess that's structured enough. All right. Let's see. Oh shoot, I gotta go. All right. I see one more question here. Sometimes you will get in premium range if you want confirmation, like inversing the bearish fair value gap. Yep. And that way I would just look to play the inverse direction to get us down into discount. So, all right, I got to go live trade. If you want to join, shoot me a message. I have the trials available. I can't leave them open anymore. We get too many bots, too many scammers trying to scam people in the group. So if you want a free trial, shoot me a message and we'll get you going there. If not, I will catch everybody next time. And yeah, we'll be back. All right.